Hey everybody, it's Michael from myrod.com, and this is a quick video in which I'll walk through our facility here, our cool old airplane hangar that we've converted to the place where we play with old cars. And you're going to see some nice old cars. A lot of those cars are already sold, and we're doing some final steps to get ready to ship those cars to the lucky new owners. And you'll also get a flavor for what our facility looks like. Now, here's what's important. Now, if you bought a car from us, you already know this. If you've been watching our videos for a long time, you already know this as well. But we're anything but a big box store. We're very selective in the cars we buy. We're very, very particular and only buy cars that we ourselves would own. So you're not going to see a big inventory. That might disappoint you guys that are into the big box stores that have just tons and tons of cars available when you go to their website. We're not like that. We only have cars that met our very selective criteria, or we don't get involved with them at all. So let's go out and take a look at what's in the building today. Let's see if we catch Tyler working. Yeah, we did. There he is. What are you doing, son?
I'm buffing this car.
You're buffing this car. Okay, well, let's take a look at this car. Okay, if you've been at our site for any amount of time at all, you'll see that our cars have gorgeous paint. Now, we buy cars with nice paint, but we make it much nicer. That is, Tyler does. He's mastered a process that I really never got involved with. It's called paint correction. The only thing I can tell you is that you need the right tools, the right materials, and really a lot of experience certainly goes a long way. But Tyler can describe to you what's involved in that process, but the end results are phenomenal. This particular car right here is gorgeous, and it was very nice before Tyler started, but it looks like porcelain now, and that's the desired results.
Yeah, so basically paint correction is what I'm doing here, and you've got to use the right materials, you've got to use the right tools, and most importantly, you have to have the right skill set and technique, because you can mess up very quickly if you don't know what you're doing. So what we're doing today is just basically buffing, swirl remover, and then sealer. And this paint is just being corrected and brought back to life and looking as beautiful as it can. And yeah, that's basically the process.
What I don't like is it's super time consuming. It's hard on you physically too. Even Tyler, as strong and young as he is, can get pretty worn out by this process, but he can spend 2 days on these cars. And so that's one of the many things we do to sort out our cars, to get them at the highest level possible without breaking the bank before our buyers end up with them. And they end up showing up as presenting as nice as they possibly can, because we take them through this paint correction process. But we're going to walk through and look at all these cars, and I'll talk real briefly about each of these cars. So it'll help you to understand the type of cars we're dealing with here, and I think you'll find at least one that you'll fall in love with. Okay, so every car in this building is special. It got here for reasons. It made the cut because we were impressed with it. I got to tell you, we're hard to impress. We've been doing this for decades. I was born into a classic car family. Tyler was born into a classic car family. And Tyler and I have been doing this together, father and son, for 20 years. So we have some experience. We don't know it all. None of these cars are perfect, but we strive to find really, really good cars that are super special, that would be very hard to duplicate or shop out there on the great interweb. So let's look at them, and I'll talk about each car to give you an idea why it's special. Well, you can look at this. This is a 68 factory S code from the factory. It's gorgeous. It's been fully restored. Some Shelby design elements were added that would be easily removed. No harm, no foul. I think it looks fantastic. Great options. It's got deluxe interior. Super, super nice. And under the hood of this factory GT is an S code 390. So it's a factory big block with air, steering, brakes. Very, very nice car. All right, let's walk on down, and we'll come back to this car and show you the engine bay. This car is one of 3 Resto-Mods we have in the building. So we typically deal in really, really nice restored cars that are substantially original, and occasionally we get involved in what we call a mild Resto-Mod, although we have one wild Resto-Mod in the building today. This is a Resto-Mod. Crate LS3, 6-speed transmission, 4-link rear system, and on and on and on. Willwood 4-wheel disc brakes. Very special. And it's special beyond that for how it came from the factory back in 1973. All right. check this out. Okay, this is one of 5 67 Mustang Fastbacks in the building. What I just showed you was a 68. This is our wild Resto-Mod. We call it Darth Vader. I think you'll understand why in a minute, but come look at this engine under here. Okay, to me, that's very impressive. And of course, the experience behind the wheel is super impressive too. This car has been very well built, and obviously it's a Resto-Mod, but it's a factory S code from Henry Ford Mustang. Ford metal, still has S code VINs. It's a real deal car that was really, really well done. Love it. Okay, so last of the original 911s, 73. I call it the Professor. I bought it from an old retired professor who owned it for decades. And Tyler and I love driving that car. And then there's a 2011 Cayman S. And okay, pro tip, if you don't have one, get one. All right, back up a little bit because this car has got to be seen. This is an unrestored, original paint, factory hypo, one owner. It's still titled in the original owner's name, and the history and provenance is fantastic. This is the nicest original Mustang I've ever seen, bar none. I think Tyler would agree with me. And it happens to be the most desirable 67 ever made, maybe one of the top 2 or 3 most desirable vintage Mustangs of all time, depending on if you're big block, small block. I'm a hypo guy. It doesn't get any better than this. They only made 205 4-speed hypos in 67 that weren't Shelby. So very rare, very special. We call it the Colonel. We named it after the Colonel that bought it new, that owned it for until 2 or 3 years ago when he passed away. One owner, and he was devoted to preserving this car in the meticulous condition you see it in. All right, another 67 Fastback. This one is an S code, big block 390, Raven Black, black deluxe interior. And we did a mild Resto-Mod on this one. It is the original drivetrain, but we updated it with EFI, electronic fuel injection, and an aluminum intake, an aluminum radiator, and modern vintage air system, and probably more that I've already forgotten. But this car is going to the UK, and I hate to see it leave the US, but that's the way it worked out with this one. It's gorgeous. Meet Willie. Yep, we name our cars. If you have grandkids, you want to name your cars. It just makes it more fun. Original paint. This was from the Forestry Service, or maintained by the Forestry Service, the U.S. government in Arkansas, in a building. So it's probably one of the best preserved Jeeps of this vintage you'll ever see, but that's not the final cool factor. The final cool factor is the first ever V6 Jeep. This is a Willis Jeep. It's a V6, and it's the GM motor. They bought the tooling and all the hardware from GM and made the first V6 Jeep ever. It's a game changer. Forget the 4-cylinder Jeeps. They're Jeeps. This is a commuter and a Jeep. Okay, what do we have here? Another original paint 1967 Mustang. Come along this side right here so you can get a good perspective. I think it's 56,000 original miles. These cars run together, so I'd have to look at the odometer. Original interior, original paint, and it's already sold, but you can't buy originality. It's virtually impossible to find a 50-plus-year-old Mustang, especially a super desirable Fastback GT like this car, that's been maintained in this condition. So we have yet a third one, also original paint. Now, if you think I'm pulling your leg, trust me, I'm not. I know what original paint looks like. Now, this has been cleared over, but most of the paint on this car is original, and it has been cleared, and it's gorgeous. It's a K-code. Also a one owner until the passage of the original owner, I think about 4 years ago. So it has phenomenal history like the Colonel there, but it's got drag race history second to none. Very, very impressive. But come look at this interior. It's a deluxe interior, tilt wheel, 8-track, on and on and on, loaded K-code hypo. And come around to the rear too. I got to show you something else that's very special. Okay, so of the Fastbacks we have in the building, 67 Fastbacks, 5 of them, or is it 4 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them have special rear ends. Either this ribbed rear grille, or in this case, even rare, the painted gray treatment. Super, super rare. So it's just ironic that our building is full of 67 Fastbacks, all of them super desirable on the face of it, but then they have the unique rear end treatment. So that's cool. Okay, over here, what do we have? Well, up on top, you'll see an original paint 240Z. Again, purchased indirectly from the original owner who had passed away. Yes, I like original Survivor cars with original paint. In fact, I love them. I used to do NCRS judging for Survivor cars in the mid-years, and there's just something special about cars that still have their soul, that were lovingly preserved by one man or woman from day one. It's just almost impossible to find that. On the other side is a 300ZX that won at ZCon, so it's a really nice little car. Here you have a couple of the best examples from the late 40s, early 50s. Molly Bell, this is my grandkid's favorite. It's a 49 Plymouth Special Deluxe Convertible. Still titled in the original owner's name. I've never retitled it, and an incredible provenance. Super interested. Here you have a 50 Olds Rocket 88. Now the old timers, or the real hardcore car guys, will know this was the hot rod of the day. Nothing American made was faster than this car right here. It was a NASCAR winner. Super nice. It's a Resto-Mod. It is a full, probably $150,000 restoration with custom frame, late model drivetrain, but it looks bone stock original. Yeah, very, very special car. Okay, coming back up here, you'll see that I love 240Zs. I got married in a white red interior 240Z like the one up on the rack there. And here's another one. Come around to this side. This is my favorite color 240Z. And it's been restored, but it's a 2-owner, low production car. Well, I shouldn't say, it's a low owner car. Best year of all. We'll do a video why the 72 240Z is the best year of all 240Zs. Come look at this engine. So it's done to show quality standards, and the only thing not original under here is this has been polished out. The valve cover has been polished out. But other than that, it's like it came from the factory, but maybe just a little nicer. Okay, so that's the walk through the facility. That's a little bit of information about why each one of these cars are special, and it helps support the fact that we only get involved with cars that we think are special. So check out our website, myrod.com. We may end up with something that you'll fall deeply in love with and buy from us. Or if you have something to sell that's special like the cars that we have in this building, contact us. We're probably your premium buyer. That's what we deal in, are the special, hard to find, high option, well-preserved cars. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things that you're supposed to do. And don't forget us, myrod.com. Adios.